Hey, Gabriel,
Hey, Gabriel Jose.
where are we today?
I am in San Francisco, and you left again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I left you behind. It's like how do you say, like with painters that they have like these ages or these kind of, how do you say, like stages of their style that it can be called like the dark years of this painter. Is that we had like the San Francisco week of our podcast, and now we are back to the remote.
And at least we recorded 2 podcasts. We aimed for a third, but it didn't happen.
We didn't record a third? I thought that we actually did record a third.
Dancer in the Dark was going to be the third.
But we recorded about Only Lovers Left Alive.
We did
Only
Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, Only Lovers Left Alive, Sundown, and Reservoir Dogs. Dancer in the Dark was, Dancer in the Dark was going to be like a bit of a stretch. Let's just be honest. So I think that we can survive without that. But yeah, that was the movie of this time that it was Dancer in the Dark, and this was my pick. And where did I pick it? I think that it has been there in the queue forever, like waiting for us to go watch it again. And I have to say that when we started with the podcast, I think that we had a more, positive outlook on Lars Von Trier. And with time, I had the feeling that for both of us, it has been decreasing a bit more as we watch like the 5 Abstractions and other stuff. And we're a bit more like, well, eventually we love Björk. And the thing is, like the main catalyst for me to go to San Francisco last week, it was going to see like the Björk concert and seeing you again. I thought that it was like the perfect time for it.
It was just for Björk.
It was just for Björk. You were a side dish. You were like the mashed potatoes of my Thanksgiving dinner. So from that perspective, I thought that it was like the time for actually just removing this from the to watch queue.
And I'm always happy, despite on how our opinions may have changed, I'm always happy to go back into Lars Von Trier's world. Or maybe I'm not always happy to, I'm always willing.
Let's say that it's stimulating, that it can just give for good conversation.
And, I mean, we did watch The Juniper Tree, and Björk has her 3rd movie coming out in a couple months.
Yeah. It's funny because while I was reading like reviews, well, not reviews, but I was reading like just some of the quotes about the movies, as he says that this was her first movie. And there were like many articles that they were not even like mentioning The Juniper Tree. It was like, this was her first article. No. She wishes that this was like the first role, but we all remember The Juniper Tree. You and me.
I remember that same experience. Everyone was like, oh, Björk's doing a movie for the first time. And then like it was like 2 years ago that the New York Times lost their mind about The Juniper Tree being re-released. It's like, if you knew about this, why weren't we talking about Dancer in the Dark as her 2nd movie? I don't get it. Whatever. Maybe it's because it's black and white and nobody saw it.
Yeah, it was a bit too artsy.
Yeah. Or just boring.
It was boring as fuck. But in any case, what was this movie about?
This movie is about Selma. Selma is, I believe, Czechoslovakian.
Yeah.
So an Eastern European immigrant in America. Of course, the entire film was filmed in Denmark because Lars Von Trier won't get on airplanes. So there's like some things that you're like, no.
What about Melancholia? It was also there.
I think Melancholia was London, or not London, but Britain.
So he went on a boat.
Oh yeah, he'll do a boat. He just doesn't fly. He's terrified of flying.
So when he was nominated to different awards in the States, he would never even be present?
I don't feel like he ever showed up to anything. But I don't know. And maybe this has changed, but I remember reading like he just doesn't fly, so everyone has to come to him. That's why like Lars Von Trier in the 5 Obstructions didn't go to the slums of Bombay. He just sent his friend.
I mean, he could have taken a train, for going there, but he was just being an asshole. Well, and just thing is that he actually sent him to Havana.
Yeah. And he any of those places.
Nope. I think that it's a bit more about like just being like self-centered and just trying to find an excuse. But we'll get to Lars Von Trier a bit later. What is this movie about?
So Selma is an immigrant who is pretty poor. She works in a factory with her best friend, Catherine Deneuve. And
Good pronunciation.
thank you. I mispronounced her last name for years. It was embarrassing when I found out. She lives in a trailer on the property of a cop played by a guy I used to really like. He kind of disappeared. I can't remember his name. Who's married, and his wife is kind of, she wants to spend a lot of money. Selma is losing her eyesight thanks to a degenerative ocular condition. And we find out pretty quickly into the film that her son most likely has the same condition, and without a surgery that she can't afford for herself, he will go blind. And so she's been saving all of her money.
Well, she can only afford one operation, and the thing is, like, the kid should be operated before a specific age, before it starts to degenerate.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it was always too late for her, at least when we met her.
Yeah.
So she works in this factory, not making much. She deals with, I don't know if she's dealing with anything, but she loves musicals. So occasionally the factory workers will just dance into songs. Björk wrote all the songs. They're pretty great uniformly. I want to talk about 107 Steps.
Oh yeah.
Later. The cop that's her landlord he steals her money. She knows it, but he can't really give it back to her, and he wants to die basically. So he shoots himself, asks Björk to finish the job. She's obviously devastated. She does it. She kills him. Of course, then she gets arrested and very quickly sentenced to death. Not an American thing. These things take like 15, 20 years.
Well, I mean, it's the perspective of a Denmark guy about like how America used to work in the 60s. He may not be completely off, but it's hilarious how he moves from as he goes to visit their old musical partners, and then he's already in court, and then he's already in prison.
And then very quickly, she's being hanged. So that's about it. She goes to trial in like this little fuck you moment from Lars Von Trier, who wrote the script with a partner. She gets a private lawyer because she had public counsel at the beginning, and the private lawyer comes in and is like, we can get you out of here, like you didn't get the best help, I'm paid, like we're gonna make this work. And she's like, where's the money coming from? And then she was like, no, I don't want to get out. Gene is her son, needs her his operation.
That is
like,
scene.
oh, there's a little bit of hope.
Yeah, that is scene where she actually faces Catherine Deneuve about like, no, what Gene needs is his eyes. He's like, no, it doesn't matter. It's pretty heartbreaking. There are a couple of points in the movie that is like, dude, I know that you're using like the manual for just moving the audience, and I fucking hate this actually works because it's Björk.
It's so manipulative, but it's so effective. Oh god, like the scene where she's hanged. Like,
oh god.
There's no locks or anything, and Björk is obviously emotionally in crisis, and she's sobbing, and she's already blind, and but at some point Catherine Deneuve just rushes onto the platform where she's getting hanged and like gives her Gene's glasses, and somehow Gene already had the operation and is cured.
Yeah. He will see, Selma. Listen to your heart.
It's just so emotionally manipulative. Everything in this movie that it pisses me off, but I don't care. I love this.
I mean, the thing is like, what it pisses me off the most is that it works. It's like, I know how it ends. It's like when this movie, I mean, the first, and spoiler we already mentioned, is that she dies, she's hanged. But the thing is that when she starts singing like the last song that I love, like New Wall, is like how they interrupt it. Is heartbreaking because a part of me when I went to watch the movie is like, maybe there's going to be some kind of twist here. It's like, nope, this is not about it. This is about like a too good of a woman for this world. It's basically breaking the webs again.
And I find Björk's voice to be incredibly powerful and moving. And so just to like, Lars Von Trier is like, look at this beautiful, pure thing that I'm gonna kill in front of you.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's what Breaking the Waves is also about.
Yeah, so we should mention that this is the third in a trilogy called the Golden Heart Trilogy, which is basically, in my opinion, Lars Von Trier's most sadistic, misogynistic tendencies, where he just wants the world to eat up these women that are basically too pure to survive in the real world. With the important distinction that I thought about when I finished watching it, she's the only one that actively chose her death out of the trilogy. I mean, so the woman in The Idiots didn't die, but the woman in Breaking the Waves was just like, she went and got gang raped and murdered. But Björk had the option to get out of prison, and she's like, no, this is what I'm choosing. I'm going to die for the better life of my son.
But I mean, it has been a really long time since I watched Breaking the Waves. I don't want to watch it again, please. But if I recall, it was a bit more about like God is talking to me and he's telling me what I have to do. So from her perspective, it's not that she was choosing actively to die, but she knew that her life was like just secondary from the perspective I could do anything for actually bringing my husband back to life.
So we would have to rewatch it to get into the finer details. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that distinction isn't as unique as I thought in Dancer in the Dark.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, The Idiots for me feels a bit more swallow than these other two. These two are like completely sadistic. The other one is a bit more about like the gimmick of they are pretending to be mentally challenged.
Yes, in the way that I'm trying to remember. Spoiler alert for The Idiots. You can't even find that to stream or watch anywhere. Don't worry. We don't know that the main character that wanders into the group of idiots, I don't think we understand that she's grieving the loss of a child until the very end. And so it's just like, I'm going to throw this shit at you, and then you're going to watch her get humiliated in front of her family while she pretends to vomit.
And I think that when she actually gets home is that when things already click. It's like just obvious at that point. It's a bit more like when you go through the door and they're like, where the fuck did you go? And is that the husband is there? Is that we already know that is they lost someone.
This is giving me flashbacks to Sundown.
Yeah, sure.
She just disappeared before the funeral. She didn't even go to the kid's funeral. And then when she comes back, the family's like, what the fuck?
Sure. Yeah. And it's like one of the actresses is on board of the movies, but yeah.
What?
It's not like Charlotte, not Ramping, Gainsbourg?
Yeah. She's not in The Idiots.
Oh, so who's the main actress?
She's Danish.
Oh, what did Björk Jensen?
You're not really understanding who Charlotte Gainsbourg is lately. I feel like.
No, I'm not. This for me is that woman. It's like the one from Nymphomaniacs.
Her albums on Spotify so you can get it.
Oh, I didn't know that she was a singer.
She's a French pop star. We talked about this.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm half asleep today, so forgive me.
It's fine.
Yeah. So we already said that the soundtrack is amazing. I mean, I like it a lot.
I like it too, and I want to talk about 107 Steps, which it's just that scene. I watched it like 4 times. After I finished the film, I just went back and rewatched it, and basically, it's just Björk. She knows there are 107 steps from her cell to the gallows, and she can't get herself to move, but her guard friend starts to make music for her, so then she just sings, and she's just counting, and it's like so beautiful and like so touching,
daunting, yeah,
devastating, and I don't know. I was very, very touched by that song this time.
Yeah. No. Yeah, for me is that. Well, I mean, for me, the whole soundtrack. I remember that it's like when the soundtrack came out, I was like just listening non-stop to it. You know, like Alone Vespertine, I think that is my favorite album from Björk. But it's because I like musicals.
I could be wrong, but I think I got into Björk as a musician before I ever saw this movie. So I came across the Dancer in the Dark album without any
Selma songs,
yeah. And I remember really liking it even before that, and then when you pair it with Lars, it's like, god damn it, this shouldn't work as well as it does.
Well, I don't know if I remember that basically Lars Von Trier reached out to her because he was like really impressed about It's So Quiet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which was a Michel Gondry video, right?
Correct. Yeah. But it was a bit more about like the musical style, you know, a bit more like just classical musical, but the voice is pretty different. That it creates like a weird combination of both things. So, and also like the other thing that I really like about this album is that I think that, yeah, it's a musical. It's like a completely regular like musical soundtrack, but I think that is like the root or the seed for Medulla, from the perspective that a lot of the soundtracks of the songs, they actually have incorporating like regular noises for just trying to turn it into music. And Medulla goes a step farther for just saying it's like, hey, this is just voices that they turn into instruments, quote unquote.
That makes sense. Like there's a scene in the factory where they're making kitchen sinks, from what I can tell, but they turn all the machinery and the clanking of the metal, they turn it into a song, everybody's dancing, yeah. Which also, I was very much reminded of the Declare Independence music video, don't laugh, which also takes place in a factory and incorporates those like factory noises, and I was like, I can see the seeds that were planted with this project and where things went.
Yeah, so I think that there was like a lot of commitment from Björk to the project. You know, it was not only about acting; it was more about like I created like this soundtrack. You know, it's my style. It's like almost like if it was one more album.
So, Björk famously hated the experience because she hated Lars Von Trier, who was apparently not nice to her, and from what I've heard, sexually harassed her while he was very charming. Not that I expect anything else from Lars, although he's sober now, so whatever. And apparently she went to the set every day and told Lars Von Trier to his face that she hated him, and then they started to work. And Catherine Deneuve wrote a memoir about her own life. This is several years ago, where she talks about the filming of Dancer in the Dark. And I've never read it, but I want to hear from her perspective, like, what the fuck happened on this set?
Yeah, I didn't read that part. I was reading like some like part of the Me Too, during the Me Too like initial kind of movement. Björk came out into, I remember once that I worked with a Danish director and he harassed me every single day, and there was like some kind of comment from Lars Von Trier about, you know, it's like Björk was almost impossible to work with. It was like just a nightmare and blah blah blah, and he tried to defend himself in a very, it was just hard, so don't believe her. And then he went into a very detailed kind of description of everything that he did. I would recommend to read it because it's like, holy shit, this guy is a creep. And then we can just do like a fast forward to Melancholia, you know, and that infamous, it was in Cannes, I think.
Oh, where he said that he could understand the Nazis.
Yeah. And what like, Kirsten does is like just next to, okay, please just let me go.
I love watching that interview. She's so uncomfortable.
She just try, you can see like her face about like, I'm a good actress, but this is pushing the limits. I cannot pretend that I'm like comfortable
outside of my
here.
range, Lars. I can't be with this.
You challenge me in a healthy way, Lars.
So wait, what thing that you're recommending I read? It's a statement from Lars Von Trier?
No, I will send you the article, but basically it's that they combine like all the tweets that it did, because at first it was like Björk saying, it's like, well, I can tell you that in the past I worked with a Danish director. He harassed me. And it's like,
and it wasn't the juniper tree.
Exactly. Well, that one was not. It was from Iceland, no?
Yeah, but at the point she had done 2 movies, you could guess which one it was.
But you know, maybe she did some kind of collaboration for whatever reason. It was another Danish director, but Lars Von Trier, instead of letting it go, he actually just went into, she was just a really hard actress to work with, you know, it's like he was always like just having feats and blah blah blah. And then Björk was like, okay, let me just answer. And she went into such a detailed level that is like, if this is how it happened, I feel freaking dirty watching this movie or watching anything but Lars Von Trier.
I don't want to cancel Lars, even if he's an asshole.
And that's what it just made me think again about like, how do you, I mean, we watch movies by Woody Allen. Is that we watched Bullets Over Broadway like not too long ago, and we will like it. You know, the guy is also a creep.
Bertolucci is one of the most despicable racists I've ever heard, and I'm still gonna watch Bertolucci films. Sorry. We're stuck there.
It's just weird, about like having to reconcile this, like, okay, this is the work and this is the person. The problem is like, that for actually making this work happen is like, he's pretty infamous about like how he used to treat his actors in his
on and off screen, because he just destroys women on screen, so I can't imagine what's happening when the cameras aren't rolling.
I even wonder about like, Dogville is a good movie. I like Dogville. I think that you didn't watch it, you watched Manderley.
Yeah.
But Nicole Kidman did a comeback for Manderley. That it was something that is a bit surprising about like, hey, this movie was like pretty well received. And she does a good job. I think that it was like the point that Nicole Kidman was trying to do like more cool stuff, and she didn't come back, and I felt like this is interesting.
Oh, that's right. It was Dallas Bryce Howard, right?
Yeah.
Who then got raped on screen by a slave. So let's try not to read it.
Oh yeah, don't worry. It's like whatever happens to Nicole Kidman in Dogville is not much better.
Really? I was so annoyed at Lars Von Trier in a specific period of life when I had actually rented Dogville. I was like, no, I'm not watching your other movie. And so I never watched it. But now I'm not annoyed, so maybe I'll give it a chance finally.
Maybe you should watch it. But that's the thing, that is like, I believe that he did the same with all of the actors.
Yeah,
all of them. So,
especially in the 90s when
you could get away.
25 years before Me Too.
Yeah. So, I don't know, for me it was like a bit weird like watching it yesterday, but then at the end I know where the movie is going and I still fucking cried.
Yeah, no, it's an emotionally powerful film. I don't think I've ever spoken to anyone that didn't at least have a very strong emotional reaction and most likely cried.
Yeah.
Especially that first time you watch it, man, and you're just not expecting like any.
Because it's exactly what the movie tells you. It's like in musicals, nothing dreadful can happen. So a part of you is still like just like holding to that glimmer of hope about like, this is a musical. Just make something good happen. She's singing in reality. It's not like an illusion right now. Dan interrupts it, and I remember like just like being in shock that is like, as soon as they actually were starting to just turn on the lights, I just ran away from the cinema. Like, I'm out. I'm out. It's like, it's not that I'm like the kind of hyper masculine guy that I feel ashamed of crying in public, but it's like, this is going to be ugly crying. This is Julianne Moore level right now. It's like, if someone sees me Oscar winning cry, that's true. Is that you only have one tool and you use it to your benefits, that's fine. So I just felt like the whole too pure for this whole kind of thing. It felt like a freaking melodrama, and you usually complain about like melodramas, but I feel it's like, this is so canned, so prepared, so fabricated for this. But it's Björk, and she does it so amazingly well, so in a way that I could never expect. That is like what I was thinking yesterday, was about to write you, but I didn't want to say it. Is like seeing this and just thinking about like the nomination that Lady Gaga had a couple of years ago for A Star Is Born, and this year I think that for whatever, I was like, look, or Madonna, like all the acting roles that it is like, look, Björk only did this. The pity is that she didn't do anything else, because her acting was impeccable.
And it's not good for a musician doing acting. It's good for any act. Like, she blew me away.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it truly gets you there. It's like, truly you understand. Truly you believe that it's that person. And then you can just watch, like, after finishing the movie, like the video when she starts attacking like a Bangkok reporter, and it's like, yeah, she's an amazing actress. It's like, she was not this beast prepared to actually just punch someone in the face.
In fairness, I don't think she was acting in Bangkok.
And that's what I'm saying, is that that's who she really is.
It was one time.
I wish that you actually had told her something when you saw her. That where Pablo records started like attacking you.
Like ducked, pretending I thought she was gonna hit me.
Maybe she will hit you. She would throw like her child.
If I didn't give her the table, she probably would have.
Probably. But no, overall, I was impressed. I was pissed that I was so impressed at this movie again.
I honestly thought, I was like, okay, I've seen this film, I don't know, several times, maybe 4 or 5 times, and I thought, well, it'll probably be a little bit, I don't know, like I've seen it before, I'm not going to be that into it. I was really into it.
So the second time, probably this is like the 4th time that I watched it. The second time that I watched it, it was back in college, like a year after it came out. We used to do like these sessions of just playing like a whole movie in the theater that we had in the faculty, and we were choosing the movies. So I don't remember it was the first movie. I don't know, maybe it was like Being John Malkovich or something, because we used to have good taste back then. And I chose Dancer in the Dark. And I remember like one of my best friends, I asked him, he's like, hey, what do you think? And you know what, I was like sobbing internally after this was over. I'm like, okay, I need a moment to recompose. He's like, hey, what do you think? He's like, the thing is like, this is super dumb. It's like when after like she kills the neighbor, she starts singing like the neighbor, the wife starts singing, it's like, just go, the police is coming. It's like, that's so dumb. It's like, at that point I was saying, look, you are one of my best friends, but you are dead to me. You have no heart and you don't deserve my sympathy.
It wasn't literal. Music is how she recovered from emotional trauma.
I know, but it's like the kind of
steps to the place where she got hanged.
Yeah, but the thing is like the lack of understanding for how musicals work. It just felt like a bit like, oh, okay. I mean, if you just look at it for face value, it's true. But if you want to look at for face value, it's like when she's about to get hanged. It's like, that's exactly for face value. It's like, I'm going to be like singing, beep. It's like, that's face value. That's how it will work.
I've been trying, since I finished watching it, I've been trying to think, why is this so different than watching Charlotte Gainsbourg be pissed on in the street by her best friend at the end of Nymphomaniac? Because it's just as emotionally abusive, this film, but I don't know why. Why does this get a pass? Is it just work?
First is Björk, and she does an amazing job. I'm not saying that Charlotte Gainsbourg is not a good actress, but is that this one is like Björk was at her peak. Is that she had released like a Homogenic and Vespertine. Is that everyone knew about her, and Lars Von Trier was at a point that she came from saving cinema with the Idiots.
Be careful, I'm gonna pick the Idiots again.
Don't you freaking dare. We don't rewatch things. I'm sorry. If there is a podcast, we don't rewatch them. Is that we watch Enemy only because we didn't record the first time for it.
All right, that's fair.
So I just think that it was like a really good combination. We resonate with Björk. It tells us like it's not only about like this Icelandic queer singer. It's like it's a bit more than that. It's like we have like a nostalgic value associated with it, or some kind of that Björk from that time. Is like we respect her as a creator, as an artist. And I also think that they play pretty well with the melodrama elements.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. And it's like when I was like rewatching it right now, it's like I know that Blake hates melodramas, but it's like there is nothing that is not a melodrama here. Nothing.
What I don't like is melodramas that don't move me, because if there's a big emotional like punch at some point, I like that. We've talked about that, like substance over style, great.
But I think that this
about the Spanish film
¿Quién te cantará?
That's one. I just felt nothing about that movie, and that's why that didn't work. Am I dead to you now, dude?
You are dead inside, dude. You are dead inside. And I even told you that when we were like just discussing about it. So you didn't feel anything. Spoiler alert! You didn't hear like "Quien te cantará." This is the point for just stopping and going to watch like one of the best movies that we ever talk about. But is that you didn't feel anything when the mother like just comes back to the house and just finds the daughter?
To be fair, if you asked me what the plot of that movie was, I couldn't tell you a single thing besides there's a famous person that goes to a house party.
Well, at least the part is accurate. It happens on the movie. It's not important, but it happens. So, I mean, the thing is, I know that you really like the emotional payoffs, and this movie has a crazy emotional payoff. If you are willing to roll with it, it's like torture, like emotional torture, because since after she kills the neighbor, it's just torture, complete torture.
It's just like misery and sadness and tiny glimmers of hope.
But not enough.
Satisfaction of seeing like Gene happily playing with his eyesight. We only find out about it while the noose is around his mom's neck and she's sobbing uncontrollably.
At that point it's like just masterfully played, because I was thinking at that point, I know that Catherine Deneuve is going to be like just running upstairs and getting there, and I think it's like, could that happen in a prison? I'm like, no, they're getting murdered, my friend. So I'm going to be like just running some stairs, and the guards are like, no, let her keep that. He's like, he will see his grandkids.
So that little move served two parts, because Björk gets the news that she wanted, and then she's holding her son's glasses, which apparently he has perfect vision now.
He's going to be a pilot.
They hang her, and while the kid's glasses are still in her hand, so you hear her neck break, and then you see the kid's glasses fall beneath her.
Yeah.
Yeah. At all. It's just, this is very heavy-handed, and I love it.
I mean, it's interesting, but I'm trying to think if we ever watched anything so heavy-handed as this, because Quien Te Cantará was not as heavy-handed as this.
No, it was not. No, I don't think we've ever watched anything so exaggerated in everything.
I was going to say like the biggest show on earth. So exaggerated.
Oh, the Hugh Jackman?
No,
that's the greatest show.
Yeah.
The greatest show on earth, the one that you didn't watch and I did.
But that's your fault, dude. That's your fault.
My fault. Yeah, somehow, I don't know. There is some magic to Lars Von Trier's script. Björk definitely adds to it. But for whatever reason, this film is more than the sum of its individual parts, and I'm going to give it a really good score, so be prepared for that.
Oh, that's fair. Should we go over the questions then?
Let's do it.
Okay, so Dancer in the Dark. And this is Blake, and this is Jose. So, would you watch it again?
Absolutely, I would watch it tomorrow.
Wow, I will watch it again, but I need a break. It's like I feel emotionally drained. I feel like someone has slapped me when I watch this movie.
And I did. Lars Von Trier slapped you.
It's not only that he slapped. It's like he slapped me. I'm sorry if someone that knows me is listening to this. He slapped me with an erection in his pants.
And you liked it.
I don't know if I like it or not, but I felt like, why I'm not like running away. I mean, I see like this guy like just getting aroused or just producing like emotional suffering in other people, and this I had to say, it's like watching this put in so much perspective the 5 obstructions about like, yeah, what he was doing to his friend, about like torturing him, about like making him suffer, is that that's what he's doing with his audience. And I always thought, I mean, the funny thing is, like, until you, I think that it was you, like the one that told me about it, about like he likes to make audience suffer. I always thought that it's like that's Haneke's specialty, but Haneke is, he doesn't, I don't think that he gets like just pleasure from making us suffer. He's a bit more like, hey, I'm going to be like sharing my perspective of the world, and it's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I don't think he ever sets out saying like, how can I make my audience feel horrible? I do think Lars does that, with the exception of maybe Melancholia, where I do think that was genuinely about his depression. Like, he was showing his suffering rather than like, I'm going to torture the audience. Anyway, we don't have to talk about Melancholia.
I would like to rewatch Melancholia at some point. Not now. I need to be like, I already told you, I need to be like psychologically prepared for that movie.
So next week. Oh no, the week after.
It's my pick, so no. Hint, no. So yeah, I will watch it again, but I need like some time to recover, emotionally recover from it. Would you recommend it?
Yes, without a doubt. To almost anyone. Not my sister. She's a delicate little flower.
I would recommend it to my mother, and my mother would cry for weeks. And it would make me feel bad because it's like something with my mother is like, I hate when she actually applies the mother and son bond, like something sacred. I freaking hate it, you know? And for her, it's like a bit more like some kind of Joker card. It's like, but it's like the love of a mother. A mother, there is only one. And it's like, they sacrifice everything for their child. And it's like, so if I don't give you, and she has used it in the past with me about like, just like, I want this. It's like, mom, that's mine. There is no reason for me to give you. It's like, I'm your mother. I have sacrificed everything for you. It's like, mom, we're talking about a Trader Joe bags.
That's some awesome Catholic guilt.
Yep,
Awesome.
just as there. It's like she plays her cards like pretty well, you know. So it's like, from that perspective, I know that if I were to recommend this movie to her, she would torture me at a level that not even Lars Von Trier can actually achieve.
Yeah, I would say don't recommend this to your mom. Not that. No.
I mean, I think that she would love it. She would definitely love it because the idea of a mother sacrificing for her child is something that I don't think that is a life goal, but it's like she could actually see it. It's like, what a pure woman, what an amazing woman. It's like, but then she would actually just bring like see, that's a mother. That's what mothers do for their child. This is what I did for you. It's like, mom, you didn't save money, you didn't kill the neighbor, and you didn't get hung.
Yeah, how are you going to pay for my healthcare now, mom? Because that's
that's a good point. Yeah, and in the States, Denmark States. So could you remember it?
Yeah, so I was amazed at how much I remember. The one thing I didn't was just the little side story about her being cast in the musical, which was super touching. We don't have to go into details, but it was like the one nice scene. Even though she was going blind, so she couldn't perform her role, the director was super nice with her.
Yeah, I remember that she was in the musical just because I knew there is a "You Will Be There to Catch Me When I Fall." I love like that number, and I knew that it was a split between like the musical and between the court.
Got it. Yep.
So I remember like a lot. The thing that it always like just catch me off guard is like the first musical number. It takes like 40 minutes for it. There is like a lot of build up.
Every time you call this a musical, I'm always surprised. You're not wrong, but like when you say musical, I think 90% music, and this is more like, I would say, what, 20% music, if not less?
I mean, there are like, what, 8 songs? That is like, okay, it's not like a lot of songs, but it's like an average name. There is an average number for a musical. So the only thing is that they're like way more compacted in the second part of the movie. Well, in the last 2/3 of the movie.
I guess I'm just comparing it to Evita, which is like 98%.
But it's only like 3 hours. Also, this was 2 hours and 20 minutes, to be fair. But
was it 2 hours and 4? Oh no, it was 140 minutes. That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, I already remember it, as I told you. It's like it always throws me off, like the part about like, oh yeah, the musical number at the factory is not the first time that she's there. It's on the night shift, and the night shift is like the 3rd time that we see the factory.
Yeah, you have to wait for the music.
Yeah, but then it's like I know it by memory. It's like just ridiculous how many times I listen to this musical. It's just insane. And every single time that it started, like, oh my god, I know almost every single word. Is there anything artistic about it?
I would argue that the direction is pretty strong with the way he did things. Yes. The musical numbers, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot artistic about this.
I would say like Hell to the Yeah. Is I think this. I like Europa a lot. You know, I was like just mind blown about like, wow, this is good. This is like creative. This is like just doing crazy stuff. It's like something that I never expected Lars Von Trier to be able to do. And I just thought is that this is amazing that he can actually just take all the pretentiousness and bullshit from the Dogma style. That is true. This, without the musicals, it couldn't be Dogma either. It wouldn't. Because there is like a lot of production on it, you know, you don't see the cameraman, you don't see the microphones and stuff like that.
There's lighting.
And there is a lot of lighting. But he still retains that scrappy style, but he only retains it for making the contrast with the musicals as harsh as possible. Because you see that is that the camera is like completely fixed, everything is like overproduced, you know. It's like night and day, and I think that is like that part I've never seen any other movie doing something as that.
I agree. The way he I was thinking specifically about the Factory musical. Like I was like, this is shot so freaking cool.
I love
Factory's just doing this.
Yeah. Well,
it's so believable.
Yeah, and I think that I told you when we started watching it before I fell asleep, and I'm sorry about that. I love the number of I've seen it all. I love it. Like the train, like just going like slowly, you know. And I know it's only like 10 dancers around, but it's like it's so iconic when they're like with the hands in front of her, like just pulling it back. That is like I love like other musicals that they came after and before that musical. And that I think is amazing. It's like it's everything. It's like it captures like the classic feeling, but without like, for example, what La La Land did. That is like, hey, we're going to be like classic, capturing the classic feeling, but we're going to be like crazy, spending like a lot of millions into this. And it's like, no, this is just like a small indie film, and it feels like a Hollywood golden age musical with a very limited budget.
Yeah, I agree. There's just a sense of realism, or like a gritty reality to it that is so different than, especially when typically musicals are so produced and out there, and usually on sets. These were not sets.
No, everything was like outdoors or in on premises. Yeah. So sorry. Next question. Is it a timeless piece?
Yeah, completely.
As I was telling you, is like it doesn't matter if it's now, if it's like 1,000 years in the future, you know. It's like a mother will watch this and it will tell their son, it's like, this is how mothers are. This is how they sacrifice themselves for their kids.
Now I wouldn't recommend it to my mom, so
No. I don't think that you want to hear her opinion on this.
It's just a sidebar. I went to the movies with my mom a couple weeks ago, and there was a trailer where her son dies in the trailer, and my mom like grabbed my arm, and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, I just don't like watching mothers lose their sons. And I was like, what? Trailer.
I'm alive. I'm here. I mean, it's true that it's like we are males. It's like, even, you know, if we were with women, even if we were straight, it's like we wouldn't have like the same kind of attachment to our kids. So I understand that women get attached in a different way than men has, you know. But it's just, it's like I don't know. It gets to a point of saying that it's like, this is just a bit bizarre.
Well, just let her have it. Just don't make her watch this movie.
Yeah. Would you turn this into a TV show?
That's a tough one, because I honestly feel like there's enough subject matter, but like I feel like for me it's so perfect as a film. I wouldn't want to mess with it for fear that it would be not good. But if he could make 10 hours of this, I'd be willing to watch it, and boy, would I have an emotional orgasm in the season finale.
So, season finale, is it because in the second season Selma comes back?
Oh, the series finale, yeah, sorry. The next season would be just about Jean getting like shit on by life. Yeah. Now you can see how life is just fucking you over. No, but the thing that I was thinking about, that you remember Kingdom, like that weird show that Lars Von Trier did in Denmark about like the. I didn't watch the whole thing. I remember it.
I only watched the first season, and if you remember, like the format is like after the episode ended, and it was like a bit, not exactly Dogma, but it was a bit more like the scrappy style that we see here, and it would end up with a comment from the director about like, today in Kingdom, we actually saw how the reality can bend according to the minds of the people affected by it.
But what if instead of him, it was Catherine Deneuve doing like the log lady intros for Twin Peaks? That could really work, I feel like.
I would like, now that you say that, is that, you know what I would like to see is like the TV show adaptation to be made by David Lynch. And he already did musical in Blue Velvet. Wasn't there like a number, like a musical number with Monica Bellucci?
Monica Bellucci is not in Blue Velvet.
No, Isabella Rossellini, sorry.
Oh. I mean, they danced in a bar. I don't remember. Let's not.
Right,
yes, I
we
would
can just
like David Lynch. Yes, take a stab at this. It would have to be weirder, but yes, I would be into it.
I don't know.
I mean, according to his style, I just a mystery man that we never find out who he is.
What I would like is like instead of actually turning into a musical, it's like we see like 80% of normal stuff and then a 20% of jumping into David Lynch world.
Like in the Twin Peaks season 3 where we just watched The Birth of Evil for like 40 minutes.
Yep. But that episode was like all weird. But just imagine like something. Twin Peaks does this a bit. That is like if you actually realize about like the first and the second season is that they do, especially the first season, they do like a lot of 50 or 60% of the time of every episode is during daytime, and it's like regular drama, like TV soap opera kind of thing. And then it's like when the night fall, things start like getting a bit off. Weird stuff start happening, you know. And that's the part that I was thinking is that it would be interesting to see like a Dancer in the Dark by David Lynch's perspective of like, I'm going to be like presenting you a melodrama, you know, and when the night falls, there is something else. There is like
David. Do whatever you do.
But I think that it will be like just closer to Blue Velvet. That is like I show you the reality of the American society, and then I stretch it out, and you can see through the crevice, and something weird is like just creeping. I don't think that he can actually do something that is like just pure melodrama. Even if he did like a straight story and the Elephant Man, it's like I don't think that he focuses much more with that. So you're saying yes or no to turning?
I'm gonna say no, just because I don't want to mess with this film when I like it so much.
Yeah, for me, it's like this emotional torture. I don't think that I can just put up with any longer than the 2 hours and 20. It's like I think that I will watch like 2 episodes and it'll be like, why am I doing this to myself?
That's fair.
Do you think that this movie could have been better?
For the same reason that I answered the last question, no. I'm gonna say no. Just when you have a little piece of magic, don't try and fix it. I don't. No.
Yeah.
Maybe if Tom York played her love interest. Okay, I'm gonna say yes. This could have been better.
Lars Von Trier playing his love interest, you said?
No, Tom York.
Oh, okay. So you're going to say yes?
Yes. If Tom York was in this, then it would be better.
I need to just listen like several times more to it, because like for me, it's like I remember like the first time that I saw like the video saying there's like it's Tom York, like the one that is sings the duet. And I've seen it all, and it's like there is no way that it is.
No. In the film, in the scene, it's that actor singing it. You have to go to the soundtrack. The actual soundtrack for the album is the official Björk Tom York duet.
Yeah. It's the official one. Okay. But in any case, I wouldn't change a single thing. So,
because I would be upset if you wanted to.
Nah, I won't. Don't worry. Alright, so before we score, I'm like just scrolling back.
Wait, isn't it my turn or is it your turn?
I mean, last time, I think that it was you the last time that you asked me about Naked.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Well, I'll save my pick for next time.
Oh, you already had a pick prepared?
I sure did.
Okay, then just go for it. Go for it.
Tell me what you remember about headhunters.
Okay. let's talk about Headhunters, dude. Let's just talk about Headhunters. So I don't remember everything, but I'm going to be like telling you that it's like one person is like hunting someone else that it was like his supposed boss in the office kind of thing, and then he actually submerged himself into a septic pit.
That is literally the only thing I remember was that scene.
So it's supposed to be like half serious, half comedy. It's like about like this guy that is like very like career oriented, and he's like trying to climb the ladder, if I recall correctly, and he gets into some kind of shady business, and then he starts like just getting hunted down by this guy that is like relentless. And he's like, this was not Icelandic, but Finnish, I think.
I think it is Iceland. Oh wait, I'm confusing that with the weird Lars Von Trier comedy in Iceland.
God, I hate that movie. The boss of it all. Yeah, that movie was like just terrible. No, this is actually Norwegian. Action thriller film.
Yeah, I remember nothing. So you win. You remember more. Well done.
I remember more, but I don't remember everything, believe me. And it's a movie that I only remember saying like, this was a piece of garbage.
It was not good.
It was not the worst thing that we have ever watched, but it was like, this is pretty bad. Pretty bad. It's not even like entertaining bad.
Well, we won't rewatch.
No, we won't rewatch it. Believe me that we won't. So should we score this? As this was my pick, you have to score it first.
I don't really know how to score this because there are problems, but 9. This is just 9.
For me, my score is an 8.5. I debated. I was like between 8 and 8.5. There is still a part of me that is like, right now I cannot separate what I read of all this stuff that Lars Von Trier did to Björk. Is just touching my 90s Björk flower. I don't forget that. So he doesn't deserve a 9. It's an 8.5.
She is a treasure that deserves to be treasured, not abused.
Can you imagine? Because the thing is, that she actually did Medulla, that probably she has already like just planned at a point, and then she did Volta. There is a bit more of anger kind of thing, and then she just went into the biophilia phase that it has lasted until now, like with the little cheeps and noises.
Phase. I guess it wasn't a phase; it was a single album.
Which one?
Drawing Restraint 9.
Sure, but okay. I mean, I always assumed that it was like, yeah, but I always like look at it a bit more about like this was like a collaboration with her husband all the time, more than that's the reason I say like at the time. So I always like look at that album as like, sure, they were like just looping to this thing.
Yeah, it's like, hey, there's a weird movie that needs some weird music. I'm on it.
Yep, just call me out. But yeah, no, that was good. I was wondering if you have liked it like this much. Would you say that this is your favorite Lars Von Trier movie?
I would be very interested in rewatching Nymphomaniac Volume 2 just to be sure again. I don't know. I always feel like Melancholia is my favorite of his films. But they're just very different experiences, and I haven't seen Melancholia in a long time. So I would say it's probably a tie between Melancholia and this.
The thing that I feel like pretty conflicted right now is that I think that Europa is a better movie than this. Objectively, I think that it's a better movie.
It is a better movie, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah, no, that's correct. I agree with that. I think that it's a better movie, but emotionally, this touched me, like just pointing to the doll in the right places.
We can't forget about the house that Jack built. That's up there.
I haven't watched it yet. According to what you told me, I don't watch it. It's not worthy. So that's the thing is, I was checking our score for the Europa. What was our score? Can you actually just guess it?
I would guess from what I remember an 8.5-ish from me.
It was an 8.5 from you and an 8 from me. That I felt like really surprised. I was like, I only gave it an 8? I'm giving like more to it. And it's what we said. It's like emotionally this touched me in a different kind of way than Europa. Yep. But Europa, once again, I just tell people, it's like, go watch Europa. Europa is something that I couldn't expect that it comes from Lars Von Trier.
Yeah, they're just so different, the experiences, that's very hard to compare. compare. Because like Melancholia is also very emotionally impactful, but not the same way Dancer in the Dark is.
But I feel like Europa is like way more experimental. This is experimental, but in a bit more of a controlled way. It's a bit more about, hey, I'm going to be like taking these two genres and just see what happens when I just force them together. But Europa was a bit more like, I'm going to do something. Let's see what happens here. It's like with the black and white, the color parts, you know, all this kind of projection. It's like, it's weird, cool stuff that it actually just comes together well. That is like, it's the kind of stuff that I would expect to see in a museum, in a modern art museum.
Yeah.
And Melancholy, I think that it's a good movie, but it's like just that. It's like it's a standard movie that it has like a premise, it starts and it ends, and it's like probably less experimental than most of his stuff.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, it's still a million times more experimental than anything in AMC right now, but in terms of Lars Von Trier, it's fairly straightforward.
Even ANC artisan feels.
I would wager yes. There's still Melancholia is still more interesting than artisan films by ANC.
I could bet a finger that they will actually, if they release Melancholia today, they will actually put it on ANC as an ANC artisan film.
Yep, I agree.
That is like, it just pisses me off so much that it's like, hey, you like cinema, you're going to enjoy this, and then you actually have a stuff like West Side Story as an ANC artisan film.
Lord.
Okay, that's not what I expected from this. Okay, so what are we watching next?
We're gonna watch a film that we're not paying too much attention to the Oscars right now, which is uncommon, but you know, pandemic. But I think the movie is the Joachim Trier film, The Worst Person in the World. We have a little bit of a rocky relationship with this director. We didn't like the last thing we watched of his, Thelma. I really liked Reprise, but when I saw it at Sundance like 20 years ago, so we're gonna see what happens. See what happens with the new Joachim Trier film.
Yeah, no, that sounds exciting. And something that I just realized right now, and this is not an invitation to add it to the list, we were not even like recording our scores for movies back then when we talk about Thelma.
Wow, that was a long time ago. What was that, like 2015, 2016?
Maybe, man. But it's like, I'm just surprised because I remember several things about the movie.
Well, I'll ask you about it next week.
No, because it's not part of the podcast, so you cannot use it. And you already like us twice back to back. Okay, man. This was great. It was great to actually revisit it. It was still like an emotionally draining experience, but it's something that you haven't watched it. We already spoiled it for you. Tough shit, but go watch it.
Just see it. Yep. I don't care. Good shit.
Yeah, you will still suffer. Don't worry. It doesn't matter. You say, I know how it's going to end and the last minute and just sobbing. And I don't usually like cry in this kind of way, but I was like just, once again, Julianne Moore crying. And to everyone there that is like probably crying, listening to us, you have a reason. And anything else that they should do?
Wash your hands, guys.
Okay.
And gals.
Bye.